Hey Tom, how
Hey,
you doing?
hey,
Good to see
Chris,
you.
I am a giant, giant fan. I'm so honored to be on. Thank you so
What?
much. I read your book. When I saw that I was going to be interviewed by, I was like, oh my God, I hope I'm not a blaring
Really?
mess. So thank you so
He's
much
Oh,
for
not that
having me.
great. It just
yeah. Alan will tell you, I'm not that great. I'm not that great. But thank you. Thank you. That's awesome. And I'm putting you a larger on the screen here because I love when someone has a shelf of books. Look at that shelf of books. I'm, I love it. Books, physical media. Let's
That's
go. I
right.
love it. I love it. Tell us,
And
I got the,
guitars.
yeah, I
and
saw the guitars. Yeah.
no, the guitars are sweet. Tell us about your film Home Delivery.
Well, Home Delivery is a comedy about a woman who has been kind of estranged from her family, and she decided that the best way to bring everyone together is to invite them all in to witness the birth of the very first grandchild in the family. And it goes about as well as you can imagine with an estranged family and people who are some control freaks in a situation where there's going to be a live birth happening in a tub, or if they can get the tub inflated in time. It's everything that can go wrong does go wrong, but that's the law of comedy. So.
Well, also, how do you make a comedy in today's uh, age? I mean, I think part of it, like, there have been backlashes to comedies. Did you have any issues in terms of the subject matter, jokes? Uh, how do you make a comedy in this environment where people are offended by everything?
Well, I feel like the most important thing the way that I look at my own work and my favorite work is, first of all, you can't punch down. So you don't bully anyone in your comedy. Um, and for me, one of the things that is true is I feel like we're our own worst enemies. So, it's not that my stuff is self-deprecating, but it's always looking at myself and the people around me. And I'll tell you the reason why I started, because when I was in film school, I was like, oh, I'm going to be this serious, like David Lynch was my hero.
Mhm.
This is not a David Lynch movie.
Of
But
course.
what happened is I had a kid, and I remember holding my baby, this beautiful baby, and then suddenly this explosive diarrhea just shot out of the diaper all over my arm, all over my shirt. And the look on my baby's face, she was so happy, and she looked up at me with all this love, and I was like, that's what life is. It's like,
Yeah.
there's, how can we take anything seriously if we have, if the person we love more than anything in this universe can shit all over you? Excuse my language. But
Well, Alan
that's,
and I do that to each other
I
all
know.
the time.
We already have one
there
on
you
the
go.
Verbally.
Right.
But
So the way that
hey,
I see it is like, so long as I really believe in like humane storytelling. I don't, I love all the characters in my movie. They all are jerks at one point or another during the movie. They're all right and they're all wrong at different points in the story. And hopefully for me, if I can get people to a place where they recognize something in themselves or they recognize someone in their family, and they can walk away being like, you know what, I get it now. Or I was kind of a jerk. Like that's my hope, is that comedy can really break down walls. And once, because you laugh involuntarily. It's just like horror. You jump or you're scared, and it's not logic that gets you there. So if I can, once you get that into a person and they laugh, then the walls start to come down, and some of the I think the dogma is our enemy. Like the dogmatic thinking, anything that's like purity tests for politicians or anything like that. And the moment that you can get people to laugh at themselves, then
yeah.
it starts to break the walls down. So that's
Yeah.
really what I'm trying to do, is to find the ways that we're similar to each other and make fun of that in the nicest way. Like, not to say, oh, you're stupid for thinking that, but just like, you didn't think that one through, did you? Like, that's kind of the way that I feel like my story engine is. It seemed like a good idea at the time, and then you realize, oh, that was a horrible idea. That was the worst idea I've ever had. So,
I think that's true in all comedy.
If you do that, then I feel like you can give people a chance to see themselves in a different way, and hopefully be a little more forgiving of themselves and of each other.
But let's take a look at the trailer for your film. I have it all queued up here. Let's take a look together. Here we go.
It's happening! It's happening! Did you remember the camera?
Got a wide angle lens so I can get all of you.
There she is. I'm so pregnant. Whoa. You felt that?
It's like an alien, right?
Welcome. So glad you're here. Oh, God.
Remember your training.
Mommy's here.
Welcome to the birth of Ellie and Jimmy's child. Your job is to create a calm space, a loving space, a serene, peaceful environment.
What do you think of that?
You are all toxic to me.
I have to go.
Siri, find a midwife near me.
I'm your midwife.
Babe!
How much of the down there do you want me to film?
Do you really want your father to film your girly parts?
I want to see the head coming out of me.
What? And cut.
Okay, let's go to questions. Alan, you were going to ask a question.
No, I was making a statement just about comedy. The reason comedy works is the fact that we connect with what the subject is, and the comedy is when you twist it on its head, turn it on its head, and who can't relate to babies and birth and things like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I also, first after seeing my own, like, we had my extended family in the room with us, and at a certain point we were crowding each other out, like, who can give my wife a massage and who's gonna, can I bring you the something to drink, can I do, and here she is, she's half naked and she's trying to deliver a baby, and I just remember that moment I was like, this is ridiculous. Plus I had this brilliant idea to have a friend of mine come in and videotape the whole thing, so I mean that was absolutely absurd. And that's where so I'm making fun of myself, really, is what it all is. But I hope that, as I heard more stories of other people going through this, the editor on the movie has had 3 home births, and he was like, dude, you nailed it. And I hadn't had a home birth, but we had a midwife and a doula. So we had these things, and I was just sort of collecting ideas. Every time I heard someone talk about theirs, I was like, oh, that's perfect, I can use that. Mm-hmm. I heard about orgasmic birth, and I was like, oh, that's definitely going in the movie. Like, it's just, because I thought if it's real, then it's great. If it's out there, and if it's something that that's true, then we can make, then you can always lean back on that and say, listen, this happens, this is this thing. But also, it just adds to that whole sense of the world is so much crazier than we think it is, and so much more full of insanity than we think it is. And we like to want to keep it nice and tidy. And I think that's the job of comedy, is to make it messy and show how crazy the world is.
Yep.
We've got a lot of comments. Let's get to them. Comments and questions.
Okay. Let's see. Tim is not funny. Punch sideways. Sir Dirty Dog. That's the shit that's memorable in life. AD Ellis, this is your second film to tackle the subject of parenthood. What are the most challenging aspects of the subject to bring to screen? And do you consider it a spiritual sequel to The Donor Party?
Someone asked me this, and I flippantly said that I have a trilogy of movies that I could call the sperm cycle, which is, Donor Party is the beginning. This one is the birth. And then I do actually have a story about a guy who finds out that that the guy who raised him is not his biological dad, and that his biological dad, his mom doesn't know because she was an adult film actress at the time. And this is a story that actually happened to a friend of mine. And I was just like, oh, that's going in. I'm using that because it's that idea of you never know what, like, and the guy didn't know this about his mom. So there's this journey of understanding himself and understanding who he is, and kind of coming to terms with what that could mean for his own life. And I just find, we take ourselves so seriously, and how can I do things that will, how can I get to the things that all of us deal with, and find ways to again, point out the ways that we're a little ridiculous, and to give ourselves some grace. So I definitely feel like the birth is something that, we've all been born. So we've all got that story that we can, my mom tells me about my birth and how I was this cheap, like I cost the cost of a box of Kleenex because my dad was in the Navy, and I was born on base, versus the people I know who spent over $100,000 on IVF trying to get pregnant over and over and over. And that, like, there's so many versions of the simple way that we each come into the world, that I felt like it's a useful thing it unites us all. And I felt like the donor party was it really comes from being there's a lot of folks in the film industry who are amazing, intelligent, brilliant women who are in their mid 30s who I was meeting, and they would say that, I don't know what it is about me, but I've always had more women friends than men friends, and women tend to open up around me. Maybe it's because I'm married and they feel like I don't know what it is, but
You're safe. Yes.
Yeah, it is. You're safe.
I've always had, ever since I was a kid, I've always had more friends who are women.
We've got some more questions here and comments. This is funny.
So anyway,
oh, can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Oh,
I can. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would be a good design for a popcorn bucket for this movie? Says Mark Clement.
Well, I can think of one.
Man.
I don't know that I could describe it.
A baby carriage. Here we go.
I mean, a baby carriage is kind of the best. Yeah.
Tony Ilias says Donald Faison is one of my favorite childhood favorite actors. What was it like to work with him? And I would add to that question, the cast is amazing. Yeah. How'd you get them? I mean, Rainn Wilson, I'm a huge fan of. So how'd you get all this cast?
Well, look, one of the things that I wrote the part for Rainn. I'd had the good fortune of working with him on a short film that I did for his website called Soul Pancake, that we actually got Randall Park to be in. So, I've been a fan of who isn't a fan of The Office? But so I've known him for a while. During the pandemic, he asked me to be one of the writers and a producer, because I'd done all these Funny or Die videos on his scripted podcast, Dark Air with Terry Carnation, which, if you haven't checked it out, it's one of the things I'm most proud of in my entire career. Like, I can die happy career-wise, because that's the most insane show I have ever been a part of. It's absolutely bonkers. It was so much fun to do. And but through doing all that, I knew that Rainn was someone who is a lot more soulful than Dwight, is a lot kinder than Dwight. And when I had this idea for a male midwife, I just thought, why don't I tap into that kind of hippie thing that Rainn has going on that people may not know? And I know that everyone knows that he's funny, but he's also incredibly soulful and sweet. And I wanted to give him a role to let him shine in that way. Speaking about Donald Faison, absolutely. And the thing is, I think that the most important thing is you have to be a fan of actors. So I knew that Donald Faison could do it because of Remember the Titans. I don't know if you guys remember the movie, Remember the Titans, but he's not the funny Turk character in that movie. He's got some serious scenes in that. And I knew that he could do all of it. Like, he could bring the charm of of everything that he does on Scrubs, he could do. But he's also got this vulnerability that I don't think he gets to tap into as much, and he's so good at it. So just being a fan of actors and knowing that they're capable of so much more than they've been given the opportunity to do is the thing. So, and then, you know, for me, when my casting director suggested Joe Pantoliano, I was like, Guido the Killer Pimp is never going to do this movie. Like, I just can't see him saying yes. But it turns out he had always wanted to play the guy who was kind of the moral soul of the movie, and he never had a chance to play a good guy. So I feel like we got great people because we were open to casting against type, and just knowing, in the same way that I think Vince Gilligan is so good at knowing, you know, Bob Odenkirk's hilarious, but I bet he can also be a menace. You know, and the dad from Malcolm in the Middle is, you know, like all of those things that he was able to keep in his brain, like, oh, this person can probably do something else. Like, I really feel that is the thing that, you know, you have to love actors, and you have to be in love with their whole range of experience, and knowing that you can, you know, it's not always the case that you can get someone to do it, and not to be unfair to dramatic actors, but I do think that it's really hard to do comedy. And if you can get a really good comedian, especially a good comic actor who's trained in things that are not just sketch, but they're trained in, like, they can do everything. Like Rob Corddry, you wouldn't know this, but he learned Shakespeare. He was going to do Shakespeare first. Like, imagine him doing King Lear.
I love Rob Corddry's work is amazing.
He's amazing.
He's great.
So knowing that, I was like, I just keep these things in the back of my mind. And every time I would see someone audition, even if they weren't right for a certain role, I keep it in the back of my mind of, like, they could be good somewhere else. So that's the way that I got. I mean, first of all, they also fell in love with the script. So, you know, I'm really, too. Yeah, the script is the first thing. They certainly were not signing on because of my illustrious career as a director. They were signing on because they put their faith in me because they knew that I understood the tone, and that I was in control of the tone, and that the tone was something that they could plug into, and that I wasn't going to push them to be ridiculous. That I wanted them to play it real and to play the comedy grounded. So that, I think, is the reason why they place their faith in me. I pinch myself every single day on both movies. Donor Party, every single day I'm looking at these amazing people, this murderer's row of comedic talent. Yeah, I was like, oh my God. And to be on set with Leslie Ann Warren, who I had a crush on from Clue, like all these things, it's amazing to be able to be with these amazing actors. And I just tried to make the set safe so that they would have fun and play and surprise and delight me with their choices.
Thom, congrats on the movie. Home Delivery is out. Is it tomorrow, or when is it out?
It's out March 27th.
March 27th. So
March 27th.
End of this month. Look for Home Delivery.
End of this month.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Appreciate you. We will
and
come
again,
back
like I said, I'm not just blowing smoke, man.
Okay.
This is seriously an honor. I'm thrilled to be here. So yeah,
Thanks.
if you need me to come and, like, dump your garbage or anything like that,
all right,
I'm down, dude.
I'll take you up on that. Yeah, and come back when the third film in the cycle is complete.
Yeah, do the organ donor party.
Yeah, no.
Oh, now see, that's a different movie.
Yeah. Yes. All right, take care, Thom. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Take care.